to the extent that you conclude that I have either skipped an important step in my chronology, which is reflected in this affidavit, you will reference the affidavit and then we shall include it. Would that work as an approach? Would that work? Okay, you distracted yourself somewhat. Okay, I'll try again. My proposal to you is we work off the chronology as I've prepared it based on the documents that I had. And if anywhere in that chronology or timeline, there is a step I miss because I didn't have a particular document, but that step is reflected in the affidavit we have just introduced, CJC 383, that's how we have marked it for ourselves, then please refer us to this affidavit and the particular paragraph or page that you would like us to take consideration of, and we will slot it in the chronology. Would that work as an approach?
Yes, Council, I will point it out to you.
Yes.
The importance of it is that it gives it in chronological order, the factual background, how it started.
Okay, then perhaps let's do it how it best works for you. I'm just quickly flipping through it to see the dates. You recall we start with a date sometime in December of 2024. That's my start point. It would have been the 27th of November 2024, which is the date of the Section 27 affidavit. But you didn't see that one. You reference a decision made by the Case Evaluation Committee, which you say is in December 2024. So for the record, that's what we have, December, and that's my start date.
Yes.
So without going into the detail of the facts justifying the investigation, let's work through this affidavit and highlight the key dates that are important that you want the commissioners to have regard to. And I'll try and slot them into my timeline as we speak. Then we will deal with my chronology of events. I'm happy to give you a first shot at this.
Thank you.
And remember that we are not dealing with who did what and when. We are just looking at the key dates. What happened on what date that is reflected on this document.
Thank you, Council. Chair,
Thank you.
Commissioners. I think it will give us a better understanding from when we started with the 27. And first of all, when it comes to the 27, as I indicated, I never received the 27. So there were people at management, legal minds, who made a decision that the investigation should be authorized. As a result of that authorization, we have the preliminary investigation, which comes down to our level. We are authorized to investigate the matter preliminary. So the investigation starts from there. It's a broad investigation from the briefing given by the Chief Criminal Investigator, who we directly report to. The briefing is done in the form of a briefing. This is the scenario. This is whatever is there.
Do you want to give a date? Because as I understood it, Ms. Sillo is very much interested in dates.
In dates?
Yes. So,
Commissioner, I cannot remember specific dates, but it was during December 2024. And as I must remind Commissioner that during a certain part of December 24 to January, I went on leave and I was out of the country. The investigation starts, preliminary investigation. Obviously, as an investigator, as I explained, that when something is given to us, it's an allegation. Sometimes the facts will be very, very minimum, but we have to investigate. So we start the investigation process, and when we, say for example, we start the investigation, and we find there, but there is nothing, then we will have to close the investigation because there's nothing. Or we cannot find anything to substantiate or support what is there. But if we find something, a crime that's been committed, We've already started the investigation. We've commenced with it. We will start now by proving, getting more evidence to support this crime that has been committed. So the preliminary investigation is what it's all about. That's why you'll find that some affidavits are taken in January, which is the start, but at the end of the day, when we look at it, the docket is registered in June, because the preliminary starts first. The investigation starts first and it builds up until the time when you are saying, okay, it's now a full-blown investigation, right, and we're going to start, we need to register this docket. So because IDAC does not have its own case dockets of IDAC, we use the SAPS dockets. So you would go and you would register the dockets, and you've taken a statement in January, but your docket is opened in June. So on your preamble, I call it the 3MA and 3MB, your preamble that we were discussing, that has to be completed. It's for the administration of the docket purposes on the system at the station. So therefore, you will have an affidavit that is taken earlier on, but it's in the docket or attached to the 3MA, 3MB, and that was the thing with the date there. So move on from.
Sorry, before you move on,
Commissioner,
the preliminary investigation, what you refer to as preliminary investigation, is that the part that falls under an inquiry?
Inquiry.
Remember, you mentioned an inquiry, and you said it has its own number,
Yes.
045.
That's correct.
Okay.
And to add on it, Commissioner, that inquiry doesn't have a CAS number. It will have a CIN, what we call it, a reference number. So whatever we do, or whatever we do, if we have to travel somewhere, the reference is that CIN. If we take and apply for a summons or documents, that's the reference number. But once the case docket is registered, that inquiry number will fall off, and you will start using the CAS number. So that's the start. The investigation starts. There are allegations that are made. So the next step is to now go and look for supportive evidence. You will subpoena documents. So that is exactly what we did. We compiled a subpoena and we served documents on the National Commissioner for various documents according to the allegations. So when you say there's a promotion, we want the appointment dockets, everything. We want the personal files. We want the vetting files. We want the Secret Service account, that, and that. Now, these documents are classified. So we also asked for the documents to be declassified. So the National Commissioner at that moment was General Masimula. He declassified all those documents, and there were quite a number of files that he brought to us. So when those files were brought to us, we perused those files. And it is then that moment in time when some of the allegations came to light that, look, this is indeed so. It confirms the allegation. But with that allegation, you still have to get an affidavit. And that's how we go with the affidavits from there until we build up to a point. Now, Chair, Commissioners, we do the investigation. After we're done with the investigation, it is presented to the prosecutors. Is there enough in your investigation to support a charge? Is there enough to support the first person? Is there enough? The suspect is identified. Is there enough evidence there to support the charge against the suspect? So they make those decisions. Either they take what we give them and use it, or they reject it, or they say, go further, and this is what further we need. So it may mean that with this further guidance from the prosecutors, you'll have to requisition more documents. You may have to interview more people until they are satisfied. Look, we are now at this point where we are ready. The suspects identified. We have evidence to support the charges, and then it moves to the next step of your application for I don't want to jump a step. Once they are satisfied that they have sufficient, they will start with a draft charge sheet, they will start with a memo, and then they will present that to the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, who's responsible for that leg or team. They will have to convince him to say, look, this is what we have. When he looks at it and he says, no, okay, fine. It's enough here to move forward to the next level. So he has to now take everything with the charge sheet and present it before management and the head of the office. So the head of the office has a look at the charges, what is there, and they give the go-ahead to say, okay, yes, we can go ahead. All right. So I actually jumped into the full-blown investigation. The first is the preliminary, where it's submitted to the prosecutors, presented to the deputy director, and then presented to management, and they are satisfied, yes, this should go into a full-blown investigation. Then a full-blown investigation is authorized under Section 28(1). So it comes back again, where we now build the case docket, and then the draft charge sheet is done, the presentation to management and the head of the office, where after that a consultation note is done to the director of public prosecutions in that particular region to prosecute the matter. That director of prosecution can say, yes, you can proceed, she's satisfied, or he's satisfied, you can prosecute the matter and go forward. So once that is done, then we have to, because of the nature of the offense, when it comes to a Schedule 5 offense or more serious, we prepare bail affidavits. We got the bail affidavits, we got the charge sheets, then the next step is the making arrangements for the court. The applications for the J50s are done. You go to the magistrate, you present your affidavit to the magistrate, and it's scrutinized there. And obviously sometimes they are not satisfied with it. They say that they're not satisfied with it, so you have to go back and rectify whatever queries they have. At the end of the day, the warrants are issued. Once the warrants are issued, a planning is done, and in most cases that what we do, Chair, Commissioners, we try to do whatever we do in a professional way. Although we have a warrant of arrest, we don't go to your home, phone you, please come with your attorney, your legal representative, I have a warrant for you. Please come to the police station with your legal representative where the warrant is executed and processed, and thereafter the court process. So that is the flow process of my explanation, which I tried to explain, but I had some difficulty with it, but now I've given it to you. But one thing what I want to say, Chair, Commissioners, I have no insight into Section 27. And yes, as Commissioner Baloy said, as an investigating officer, you should have got that 27. But in our workspace where we are, we're getting a briefing from the chief. We believe in what he says. He gives us the guidance. There is that scenario there, and at all given times, it's an allegation. So we go out, we investigate. And if we find there's nothing, we come back and we tell the chief, hey, there's nothing here. And it ends there. We're not going to go and look and scratch for something that is not there or make up something. But that's where it is. That's where it ends there. With regards to the Section 27 and the reversal, when the Section 27 comes, it goes to the head of the office. And the head of office, together with their management, whatever they do, they are legal-minded. In terms of the act and everything that they do, they will look at it. By the time it comes to our office or down to our level, it's authorized. That's our authority to carry on, and we comply. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Colonel. Was it only in this instance that an investigator did not get the Section 27 referral, or is your testimony that the chiefs never ever gave that referral to investigators?
Commissioners, I've never received.
You may have dealt with this, but there's no harm in you repeating it.
No problem, Chair. In all the investigations that I've conducted, and there are a few of them, I've never had insight into the 27. From the briefing, we're getting a briefing.
Yes.
We because it's I'll put it this way, because it's handled at management level and dealt with there. For us, it's just the authorization, proceed with your investigation. That's what's important to us.
Okay.
Proceed, carry on with your investigation.
So in your understanding, that's the case with your or rather with other investigators as well. They too never get the Section 27 referral.
Within the investigators,
To your knowledge,
I do not know. To my knowledge, I do not know.
You don't know.
There are many. There are not one chief criminal investigator.
I refer to chiefs plural.
Chiefs.
I refer to chiefs plural.
Yes, sir. I would not have knowledge.
So you do not know about other investigators as well, whether they do get these from
Yes,
the chiefs. You do not know.
Can I respond?
Yes.
The other chiefs and their teams, I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
But, Colonel, this is not the first case you've investigated. In previous cases that you investigated, did you get the Section 27 referral?
No, sir. I did not get the 27 referral. On the other cases where I assisted in the investigations, I did not have sight into Section 27. That's why, for me, when you are asking me about the Section 27, it's like I've never. Thank you, sir.
Can I just ask that? Does that mean the fact that you rely on a briefing? Does that mean you have no role at all in what charge is formulated?
That is correct. I have no authority. That's for the prosecutors to determine. It's their space. Because they must decide, because it's prosecution-led, they decide to prosecute or not to prosecute.
I'm asking a different question. So here, for example, in the Mukwele matter, you've got charges of fraud, for example. You would not have had any input into whether what you have gathered in your investigation, whether preliminary or the main investigation, whether it supports that charge of fraud. You have no input in that.
From the investigation and what evidence we gather, for example, where you can see fraud, when we're presenting your investigation, what we found here misrepresentation, fraud, in your investigation, because it shows on your investigation and your statements, the crime is there. It's for them to see whether there is enough for that alleged